Why one renowned Indian who is fondly called Baba Saheb named his autobiography Waiting for a Visa? Why is this book prescribed as a textbook in the Columbia University of America? Why many people in India are not aware of this book? What Dr. Ambedkar wanted to tell the world through his autobiography? If you want to know answers to these questions, please watch the video till the end. Welcome to my channel. In a survey conducted to know the top 100 makers of the universe in the last 10,000 years, Dr. Ambedkar stood forth in that list. Though he had been recognized like that, he faced many embarrassing and humiliating experiences in his lifetime. Those were the days in which blind faith in Hinduism and its impact on people's lives made caste a prominent factor in the society. In a country where even animals are worshipped, fellow humans were treated as untouchables. In India, one gets caste by birth, but it makes all the difference in the society. Out of many harrowing conditions and experiences, Ambedkar emerged as a torch to his fellow untouchables. The incident of a white man throwing an Indian out of a first-class train compartment because of his color motivated the latter to fight against them and thus made him a Mahatma. But another Indian who was discriminated more by fellow Indians motivated him to fight against them but was not recognized at any level. Forget about a level of Mahatma. That's a tragedy in the modern Indian history. Ambedkar is one of those intellectuals who takes birth once in a century. In the 3 years that Dr. Ambedkar studied in the Columbia University, he studied 29 courses in economics, 11 in history, 6 in sociology, 5 in philosophy, 4 in anthropology, 3 in political science, and 1 course each in French and German. Quite unimaginable and mind-boggling. He was the first South Asian to have been awarded double PhD in economics. By knowing these facts, anybody will feel awestruck. This is unprecedented and very hard to believe. Baba Saheb Ambedkar named his autobiography Waiting for a Visa. This 20-page book was written by him between 1935 and 36. If anyone wants to go to any other country, he or she has to obtain a visa. Similarly, Ambedkar, in his own words, is waiting for a visa into the Hindu society which is not willing to accept him as he is, minus caste. That's why he titled his autobiography as such. If Mahatma's book is the story of my experiments with truth, Dr. Ambedkar's autobiography can be understood as the story of my experiences with untouchability. At least 1/4 of the Indians who read Mahatma Gandhi's autobiography might not have read Ambedkar's autobiography. One main reason that can be attributed is he is more identified as a representative of Dalit rather than one of those rare intellectuals that the country has ever produced. With a brief introduction, Baba Saheb Ambedkar divided his autobiography into 6 sections. In these 6 sections, he narrated how he and other persons named as untouchables were discriminated and humiliated. This book was written keeping in view the foreign readers. In his own words, for the foreigners who, of course, know of the existence of untouchability but not being next door to it, so to say, they are unable to realize how oppressive in its actuality. Only because of this reason, this book is prescribed as a textbook in the Columbia University of America. Now let us analyze section-wise summary of his autobiography. Section 1. a childhood journey to Koregaon becomes a nightmare. This section describes a journey undertaken in 1901 by the 10-year-old Ambedkar and his siblings from their residence in Satara to Koregaon to meet their father. The discriminatory behavior of the Jatkawala en route to Masura made their journey appear impossible and dangerous. Similarly, how he was discriminated in the school was also described. As he was treated as an untouchable, only the peon used to pour water into his hands for quenching his thirst. If the peon does not come on any day, there is no water to him. Thus, Dr. Ambedkar commented this as no peon, no water. Section 2. Back from the west and unable to find lodging in Baroda. This section describes about the deep divides in Baroda during that time, not just between castes but also between religions. In 1918, upon returning to India, that is, after 3 years in USA and a year in England, Ambedkar went to Baroda state to work as a probationer in the Accountant General's office. However, upon arriving in Baroda, he realized that none of the Hindu hotels would allow his stay due to his lower caste. He found a Parsi inn, but here non-Parsis were not allowed to stay. He and the Parsi innkeeper reached a compromise whereby Ambedkar would have a Parsi name and was allowed to stay. However, this fraud, in his words, was discovered by other Parsis, and on 11th day of his stay, a group of angry Parsimen armed with sticks arrived to remove him from the inn. He had to leave the inn that very day, and not having a place to stay, was forced to leave Baroda and return to Bombay to find work elsewhere. Ambedkar recalls, "It was then for the first time I learned that a person who is untouchable to a Hindu is also an untouchable to a Parsi." Section 3. Pride, awkwardness and a dangerous accident in Chalisgaon. In this section, Dr. Ambedkar recounts an embarrassing accident that occurred to him in the village of Chalisgaon in Maharashtra in 1929. He had been appointed as a member to a committee instituted by the Bombay government to investigate allegations of oppression and grievances of untouchables. After carrying out investigations in the district of Khandesh, en route to Bombay, he disembarked at Chalisgaon to investigate a case of social boycott by Hindus against untouchables of that village. The untouchables of the village requested him to spend the night with them, but as the Tongawalas considered it below their dignity to cart an untouchable, that is Dr. Ambedkar, the villagers had to hire a Tonga, a horse-driven carriage, and ride it on their own. They did so. However, the untouchable riding the carriage was a novice and had an accident as they were crossing the river in a culvert. Ambedkar was thrown off the carriage as a wheel got stuck between the stones of the culvert. This resulted in multiple injuries to Ambedkar and a fracture. The horse and the carriage fell into the river. Ambedkar feels that the pride and dignity of the village untouchables made them take undue risks with the safety of their visitor, that is Ambedkar. He has also realized that even lowly menial Tongawalas felt that a highly educated barrister at law untouchable was below them. Section 4. Polluting the water in the fort of Daulatabad. This section relates to an incident where Muslims also treated untouchables as lower caste. Ambedkar and a group of his friends had gone to visit Daulatabad fort during a trip to Aurangabad. On arriving at the fort, Ambedkar's group washed themselves with the water kept in a tank at the fort entrance. However, after a few minutes, an old Mohammedan started to run after them, shouting, "The Dhaids," meaning untouchables, have polluted our water. And soon there was a commotion with a large group of Muslims shooting at Ambedkar's group. Ambedkar recalls, I gave this one instance to show that a person who is an untouchable to a Hindu is also an untouchable to a Mohammedan. Section 5. A doctor refuses to give proper care and a woman dies. This section consists of a letter which was published in Young India, a journal published by M.K. Gandhi in its issue of 12th December 1929. It recounts the sad experience of a Harijan in Kathiawar whose wife fell sick soon after giving birth to a child. The Hindu Brahmin doctor refused to treat her directly or see them in the house. The doctor finally agreed to see the sick lady if she were brought outside the Harijan colony and treated her without touching her, bypassing the thermometer indirectly through a Muslim. Some medicine was given to her, and when her condition aggravated, the doctor refused to see her. She died subsequently. Section 6. A young clerk is abused and threatened until he gives up his job. This section recounts the narrated experience of a Bhangi boy recounted on 6th March 1938 at a Bhangi meeting in Dadar, Bombay. The educated boy got employment as a Talati in the government district offices of Borsad, Kheda in what is now Gujarat. However, he was refused accommodation there, being an untouchable. The untouchables of the village did not accommodate him, fearing the wrath of Hindus who felt that the Bhangi boy was aiming for a job which was beyond his social status. At the government office, his colleagues discriminated and treated him so badly that he was not allowed to drink water when thirsty for fear of the water getting polluted by his touch. Ultimately, matters only got worse, with a large crowd of locals threatening to kill him. He left this job and returned home. These are some of the humiliating incidences where Dr. Ambedkar and other persons who faced untouchability. This is in spite of his great scholarship. Keeping these in mind, Dr. Ambedkar, while drafting the constitution, he incorporated the Article 17 that abolished untouchability. How Jesus sacrificed his life for the sake of everybody's sins, Ambedkar also made himself a lamb to be sacrificed for the sake of all the downtrodden who are also supposed to face similar fate. He fought for the reservations for them that resulted in equal opportunities in education, jobs, and politics. Those who have secured higher positions in jobs and politics from downtrodden today should always remember that it is only because of him that they are what they are now. Every Indian should feel proud to have a great scholar and educationist like Ambedkar who walked on this land. It is a tribute to him that he was awarded Bharat Ratna posthumously. I hope that this video gave you an idea on the autobiography of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Thanks for watching.